10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 203. Hey everybody, welcome back into episode 203 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Happy to be back with you. I hope that you are all doing well out there, staying safe, staying healthy. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope that we can provide you with some kind of entertainment and something to do for a little while we are all stuck inside for a good reason. So we're going to try to keep bringing you the content on Fridays here and try to keep bringing you stuff to work on. So I wanted to start by thanking everybody who has signed up for Patreon over the past week. Really appreciate that as somebody who's lost over half of their income due to all of these cancellations and not being able to be in the same room as people. This goes a long way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me thank everybody by name here who has signed up. Thank you to Trent, Leon, Harrison, Aaron, Keon, Larry, Christian, Pam, Onel, and William. Thank you guys so much for signing up for that $3 a month. That is going to keep us in business and literally keep my family in business through this. If anybody else wants to sign up to get all of these materials that we are coming out with, remember you can go to 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, and sign up to support us. $3 a month. You get every single PDF we've ever done, which is 203 at this point. And to everybody that is a Patreon member, I am working on the new ear training podcast. It's just my life has been kind of flipped upside down the past couple weeks, and I've had to reorganize my schedule in such a way that I'm trying to make sure that all my students still have a teacher. So I am working on that. It will come out sometime soon. Don't think that I'm forgetting about that. All right, so let's jump into today's episode. So today is going to be our tune of the month. We've prepared an etude for you, and you guessed it, it's over rhythm changes. And we've been talking about the bridge to rhythm changes a lot over the past 3 weeks, and now it's time to kind of put it all together in something that actually makes sense and is kind of a through composition. So I'm not going to talk much on this episode, but what I do want to do is go through each bridge of the etude and kind of talk about what I'm doing. Now, the A sections, they are what they are. You can go through and kind of pick those apart if you'd like, try to figure out what I'm doing, but I'm not going to be talking much about the A sections since we've been concentrating on the bridge for the past 3 weeks. Makes sense to keep concentrating on the bridge. So if you pull out your PDF of the etude, we can see that we have 2 choruses, 64 measures written over rhythm changes. And each bridge, I tried to pack as much information in there as possible. So let's go down and we'll find measure 17 of the etude. That's where the first bridge is. So let's see what we did there in terms of putting our chord substitutions in there. So let's take a look at the first 2 bars. So as you can see, I did a tritone substitution in measure 18, and then we resolved that to the next chord in the bridge. And then I tried to lengthen this out and do the full 2-5 tritone substitution. So you can see I have a concert G7 chord written in measure 19, and then that immediately goes to a concert A flat minor 7, which goes to a concert D flat 7. So there's our tritone substitution again. Then in the next bar, measure 21, we go to the regular chord that's happening there, concert C7. And then we do another tritone substitution that gets us to concert G flat 7. Then we resolve that down to concert F7. And then we do one more tritone substitution to bring us back into that concert B flat chord in measure 25. So I'm really going all in on the tritone sub sound in that first bridge over the etude. So that was my thinking there. Now, if you jump over to measure 49, that's going to be our second bridge. And what I'm doing there is the Coltrane Cycle. And we talked about this in the last episode, in last week's episode. So if you're not sure what the heck I'm doing there, that's really where we're coming from. We're coming from that Coltrane cycle to get around. So remember that Coltrane cycle is all based off of descending major thirds and their subsequent dominance. So when you look at this, I want you to actually analyze this and figure out what's going on. Try to figure out what I'm doing here. And remember, look for descending major thirds, especially with major chords. Any type of major chord, you're going to be looking for that. And try to decipher that particular movement through the keys because it is present there. And I think we've talked about the Coltrane cycle quite a bit on this podcast. We have some episodes about it. If you go to the website and you use the search bar on the right, on the sidebar of the website, you can actually just type in Coltrane changes or Coltrane cycle, and you could pull up some of those episodes. If you need a refresher on how it works, in those episodes, I talk about exactly how we form this. Now, over this bridge starting at 49, it's kind of tricky because they're like half Coltrane cycles. But I think this would be a great exercise for you, especially if you have a little bit of time on your hands, to really try to figure out how that Coltrane cycle comes together in this particular bridge. Okay, so what I'm going to first do is play the two bridges for you. I'll play the first bridge twice, and then we'll have a slight pause, and then I will play the second bridge for you so that you can kind of hear some of the things I'm trying to use. Hopefully some of these are starting to sound a little bit familiar to you if you've been working on this stuff over the past month. All right, so here is the first bridge. So can you kind of hear that tritone substitution sound? I'm hoping that's something that you can actually start to pick out when people use it, or something that's really starting to infect your ears, because that's just a really great sound. It's a really widely used sound. And it's amazing when you can start to hear it, you start to hear it all over your favorite recordings. So really study that tritone sub sound. All right, let's try the second bridge, which is going to be much harder to sort of wrap your ears around. But that's okay. We're all about making progress and trying to get new sounds into our playing. Here's the second bridge. So can you hear how much more tension is in that? And it's a little bit more of like an uncomfortable tension. Again, the tritone sub thing, our ears are kind of used to that sound, but not this tension. You know, this is just much more out there. So if you're having a lot of trouble sort of wrapping around this or even enjoying the way that it sounds, just trying to keep playing it and get used to that increased level of tension, that weirdness that's coming out of that. And I think eventually you might actually learn to kind of enjoy it a little bit. But it does take a while. And certainly if it's too much for you right now, don't worry about it. Don't worry about studying that. That's a very advanced concept, that Coltrane cycle being superimposed over other changes. All right, so let's get into the full etude. This is all two choruses of the Rhythm Changes etude for this week. didn't really realize how long that was until I started playing it. That's actually a pretty long etude. There's a lot of material in there. And I do suggest sticking with that slow tempo at first, and then ultimately you can start playing it a little bit faster, more typical of rhythm changes to be played a little bit faster. So that's about it. Let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me a message in the 10-minute jazz lesson community Facebook group. And beyond that, I hope everybody is really just staying safe out there, hunkered down. Hopefully you and your families are doing well. I know this is a really tough time, but we will get through it. And I know we've got people all over the world listening to this. So really my heart goes out to all of you, and stay safe out there. Thank you to everybody that's supporting us on Patreon. That just really helps, not only with the show, but with life in general, being somebody that's in one of those industries that's really being affected by this. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Remember, you could do that, 10minutejazzlesson.com. Click on one of the Patreon banners and get yourself signed up today. All right, everybody, have a good one. I'm going to play the etude one more time at a much faster tempo here at the end. Hopefully you have fun with this. Talk to you soon. Bye.